Once upon a time, deep inside a vast forest, evening was slowly arriving. The golden sunlight that had warmed the earth all day began fading behind the tall trees. Long shadows stretched across the grass, and the sky above gradually turned from bright blue to soft shades of orange and purple. A flock of goats was grazing peacefully in a wide clearing surrounded by thick forest. They moved slowly across the grass, nibbling leaves and plants, while the shepherd watched over them carefully. Among the flock was a small goat. She looked like the others, but she had one special trait. She loved food more than anything else. Whenever she saw fresh leaves or tender plants, she simply could not resist. While the other goats stayed together and followed the shepherd, this little goat often wandered slightly away from the group, searching for the most delicious leaves. That evening, as the flock slowly moved toward the path leading home, the little goat noticed something that made her stop. Near the edge of the forest stood several young trees with bright green leaves. The leaves looked fresh, soft, and incredibly delicious. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. She whispered to herself, "Those leaves look amazing. I'll just stay here for 5 more minutes. Just 5 minutes." The rest of the goats continued walking, following the shepherd along the narrow path that led out of the forest. But the little goat stayed behind, happily chewing the delicious leaves. 5 minutes passed. Then 10 minutes. The leaves were even better than she expected. She kept eating, completely forgetting about time. Finally, when she finished the last leaf on the lowest branch, she lifted her head and looked around. Her heart suddenly skipped a beat. The clearing was empty. The flock was gone. The shepherd was gone. The sky was almost dark. A cold feeling rushed through her body. "Oh, no," she whispered nervously. The forest that had seemed peaceful just minutes ago now looked frightening. The trees stood like silent giants, and strange sounds echoed from deep inside the woods. Her heart began beating faster and faster. "I'm finished," she thought. "Without the shepherd or the flock, I have no protection. Tonight, any predator could eat me. A wolf, a tiger, a lion, anyone. Fear can make the world seem darker than it really is." The same forest that had once felt calm and safe now felt full of hidden dangers. Every rustling leaf made her jump. Every distant sound made her imagine sharp teeth and glowing eyes. For a moment, she stood frozen, unsure what to do. Then she took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. "Well," she said quietly, "if I'm going to die tonight, at least I should drink some water first." Not far from the clearing, a small river flowed gently through the forest. The water sparkled faintly under the fading light of the evening sky. The goat walked slowly toward the river. Her legs trembled slightly, and she kept looking around nervously. When she finally reached the water, she bent down and began drinking. The cool water helped calm her racing heart. But then she noticed something strange. Near the edge of the riverbank was a large footprint pressed deep into the soft mud. It was enormous, much bigger than any animal footprint she had ever seen. The claws had sunk deep into the ground, leaving clear marks. The goat stared at it. "What kind of animal made this?" she wondered. Before she could think more about it, a sudden sound came from behind the bushes. Branches moved, leaves rustled. Then a wolf stepped out from the shadows. The wolf walked toward the river, licking his lips. When he saw the goat standing there alone, his eyes lit up with excitement. "Well, well," the wolf said with a wicked smile. "Today must be my lucky day." He slowly approached the water. "First I get a nice drink," he continued, "and then I get a delicious dinner." The goat felt her heart pounding loudly inside her chest. She knew she couldn't outrun a wolf. Running would only make things worse. So, instead of panicking, she forced herself to stay calm. Just as the wolf stepped closer, she spoke. "Before you eat me," she said quietly, "you should look at that footprint." The wolf frowned. "What footprint?" The goat pointed toward the large mark in the mud. The wolf leaned forward and examined it carefully. His expression immediately changed. His ears went back. His eyes widened slightly. That is a lion's footprint," he muttered. He looked around nervously. Then he looked back at the goat. You are friends with the lion?" The goat said nothing. She simply stood there calmly. The silence made the wolf even more uneasy. He glanced again at the massive footprint and imagined a powerful lion somewhere nearby. A lion could kill him easily. Without waiting another second, the wolf turned around and ran as fast as he could into the forest. The goat watched him disappear among the trees. Her heart was still racing, but now she felt something new. Confidence. She realized something important. The footprint had scared the wolf. Maybe it could scare others too. So whenever another animal approached the river, the goat calmly pointed at the footprint and said the same thing. Look at that paw print. One by one, the animals that came near saw the huge mark and quickly left. A fox ran away. A wild dog backed off. Even a large boar turned around after seeing the deep imprint in the mud. Little by little, the goat's fear began to fade. In its place grew courage. She stood near the river with confidence, protected by something greater than herself. Then suddenly, the forest trembled. A deep, powerful roar echoed through the trees. The ground seemed to shake. The goat froze. From between the tall trees emerged a magnificent lion. His golden mane moved gently in the evening breeze. His eyes shone with strength and authority. The goat swallowed nervously. This time, the owner of the footprint had arrived. But she remembered what had worked before. Gathering all her courage, she spoke again. Look at this paw print, she said, pointing at the ground. Since evening, not even a single hair of mine has been harmed because of it. The lion walked closer and examined the footprint. Then he began to laugh, a deep, rumbling laugh. That footprint is mine, he said. The goat blinked in surprise. The lion looked at her with curiosity. You trusted my footprint enough to protect you? The goat nodded slowly. The lion smiled. That is very brave. He sat down near the river and said calmly, if you trust my footprint so much, then you are safe. As long as I live in this forest, no animal will dare harm you. The goat felt an enormous wave of relief. For the first time that evening, she was no longer afraid, because now she knew she was not alone. The lesson, in many ways, we are like that little goat, small, fragile, often surrounded by dangers we cannot control. Life sometimes places us in situations where we feel lost, abandoned, or afraid. Problems appear like wolves. Difficulties surround us like a dark forest, and we wonder how we will survive. But just like the goat who found courage through the lion's footprint, we too can find strength when we trust in something greater than ourselves. When we place our faith in divine protection, fear begins to lose its power. Just as the lion's footprint protected the goat, faith in God's strength protects us from the wolves of life. When we truly believe that a greater power is watching over us, our hearts become calmer, our courage grows stronger. Even the challenges that once terrified us begin to step back. Courage does not mean that danger disappears. It means that faith becomes stronger than fear. Stand firmly in that faith. And just like the animals who feared the lion's footprint, the world itself will think twice before harming you.